Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Molly Mullen, and I work with the Notre Dame Sisters here in Florence and Omaha. And each week we're trying to talk to a different sister, not only because this is a time of physical distancing, we're also just in an incredible moment in terms of community action and how we care for our neighbors. And of course, it's always just great to hear from our sisters that we all don't get to see very often. So today I'm very excited that we're able to talk with Sister Marie Alice Ostry. She's had an incredible career. There's many places along the road that you could have met her and been moved by her, but currently we're going to be talking about her work with the Save Homes Project and also with Seniors Helping Seniors and how she's continuing to serve individuals during this time. So let me click on and welcome Sister Marie Alice. Good morning, sister.
Good morning, Molly. Good morning, everybody. Hi. Good to see you here.
So tell everybody where you are in the world and how it's been going.
Where I am in the world is here in Omaha, Nebraska. And with the COVID stay, shelter in place or whatever they call that, I've had a little bit more time to do some reading and just extra prayer time, contemplation. My window is a beautiful scene of a lovely tree in the sky, and so I consider that my nature getaway.
We're not going out and hiking right now, but at least you get to see some and appreciate some nature.
Right, and we're just here. I'm at Jeffrey's Manor here in Omaha on Dodge Street, and we just recently had the backyard renovated. So each day I go out there and at the end of the day, one of the things that I do is there's a swing out there and I sit on the swing and kind of review my day. And so I call it my time with God, just telling God, this is what I've done today.
And what is it? How have things changed at the manor?
Well, there hasn't been a whole lot of change, except we don't have a lot of people coming in and going. We're pretty much staying in our own apartments, but we still do. Most of us come and go with our masks on, of course. And so I would say probably the only thing that has changed is we haven't had any activities brought in to the manor.
And what's it been like not being able to physically go to Mass for so long?
Well, that has been a great change. So Sister Rosalie is another sister who lives here. And so we would get together and we would live stream Mass, at least for the first 3-4 months. We would find places where we could go. And so we had Masses at different places. And it was really, I found that probably about the hardest, not to interact with a congregation, the people that I normally met with. And then I would say probably the end of, I think it was the end of May, beginning of June, we oftentimes went to St. Francis Cabrini, and they opened Mass for several people, not the whole congregation. We had a safe distance, wear masks, and they would come out and give communion to each of us in the pew. But it was still a little better because we did see people we knew, and we could at least wave to them, say hi as we were coming and going. So that was what I really did like about going back and just being present while Mass was being, while we celebrated Mass together. That was really a good thing for me.
And do you have other sisters who live with you in the same building? And are you able to call other sisters, or how have you been able to kind of keep the
Sister Rosalie and I are here in the building together. As a matter of fact, we're just one upon the other. She's on the floor right above me. And so we get together at least 2 or 3 times a week. We see each other every day because sometimes we meet either in the hall or we call each other. We go to each other's apartment. But we usually have a meal together and pray together at least 2 or 3 times a week. And so that's the extent of how many sisters are here from our community. And we are the only community here. But we do interact with the other people here in the facility. And when we do, we also get together for Mass to live stream together. We don't, each do it on our own. We usually make a time during the day when we can get together and do that.
I've seen other sisters here doing that too, maybe like Sister Irene or Sister Joan watching Mass together, or whatever neighbors there are that are in their social distance circle that they sit and watch Mass together, which I think is great.
And it's good to spend that time together. And the other things I have done is I have, to maintain my connections with the other sisters, is give them calls. Like I will call Sister Alma because I know she's at Fontenelle and have not been able to get out to see her. I oftentimes would go see her.
Could you tell the people who are watching just a little bit about who Sister Alma is?
Well, Sister Alma is a sister who, she worked, I lived with her in Wahoo for one place. She worked with grade school. She was a teacher, she taught, and she was also administrator. And then later on in her career, she was worked at Valley Hope with addictions people. And she did a really, really great job there. But we had, Sister Rosalie and I had before COVID, we had a practice of going to see the sisters at Fontenelle and just take time.
And tell people what Fontenelle is.
Fontenelle is a nursing home in the Emmanuel system, and that's where our sisters go when they need nursing care. They used to be at Emmanuel Courtyard, which was assisted living. So once they were no longer able to be independent living, they would go to Emmanuel Courtyard. And then when they needed nursing, they would go to Fontenelle. So Sister Rosalie and I would go once a month, and we would have like just a little time for prayer and reflection with them, and just gathering with them to share what's going on in their lives and what's going on in ours. So when COVID came, that came to an end. And we'd also celebrate some days like our birthdays and feast days together too. So when it came to an end, I decided that what I would do is always try to give a call now and then. And so I do call Sister Alma, and sometimes she'll answer and sometimes she won't. She's also busy as well. And I've tried to continue that also with Sister Mary Beth. Sister Mary Beth used to, she was a teacher. She was our groundskeeper at Notre Dame for many, many years. And she's also there, but I have a harder time getting a hold of her. So I do continue to try to make connections with them. And then the other sisters that are like at Notre Dame Housing, or even the sisters that are out of the state, that's my way of continuing connections, as well as friends. I also do that through calling and sometimes through FaceTime.
And so speaking of supporting the seniors among us, you also work for an organization called Seniors Helping Seniors. And I was shocked to find out that you're still business as usual and still serving these people, even during all this distancing. So could you tell me a little bit about what serving seniors?
It's Seniors Helping Seniors.
Seniors Helping Seniors.
It's a program that works with seniors who are either in their homes, or they can be in a facility like Fontenelle or Emmanuel Courtyard, if they have need of having a companion so that their caretaker can have some time off to do errands or whatever it is that they need to get done. And so because even through COVID, they also needed that. And so what we do, those of us that work with Seniors Helping Seniors, is we go to their houses and we, or to the facility where they are, and we are just with them for 3 to 5 to 6 hours a day, and we help them with whatever tasks they might have, like if they have a need to clean their room, to make their beds or whatever. Excuse me. Also help them with meals, just engage them. And so I've been going with them. We do, every time we have a shift, we are taken through the process of, have you been out of the states? Have you been out of in touch with anybody with COVID? Do you have a fever? All of that. And then when we get to our place of work, when we check in, we're also reminded that if you have cold or flu-like symptoms, or your client has that, then you call the office. And from there, we would take care of the client and ourselves. So
And you're serving two full-time, you're serving two long-term clients now, is that correct?
Well, I'm doing 3. I just got a 3rd one. Because of COVID, some of the seniors who have been to hospitals have to be quarantined when they come back. And basically what we do for them is just companionship. We just sit there and make sure that they stay in their apartment for the whole day, for the 14 days that they are. So I just got another one, and I'll be going to be with that person this afternoon. The other
And I
two,
think if I could mention, that's just such an important thing and so interesting. I just personally started caretaking for my grandmother, who's 99. And one of the tricky things about COVID is that at that age, and since they're home so much all the time, they haven't maybe seen all the changes. And she keeps forgetting that she can't go out, or that she can't just run down to the store, or that we're in a different time now. And it just can be difficult to keep people remembering what kind of state of the world that we're in. And she's 99, and this has never happened in her lifetime before. It's pretty hard for it to kind of sink in.
It is. It's a difficult thing for them, because they want to go out. They want to go. The two people, the person that I was with, and I don't know how this one will be, but the person I was with would like to go out. She liked dogs, and she didn't have a dog. She had dog statues, but she didn't have a dog. And somebody in the facility had a dog, so she always would like to go out and pet the dog. But we had to say, no, you need to stay in your room. So it's just kind of reorienting them, or realigning them that, this is where we need to be at this time. And so sometimes it does get to be a little bit of a challenge. But
it just seems like such remarkable work. And I guess until you start caregiving for somebody that you love and respect at the end of their life, you really don't know kind of the ups and downs and joys and challenges of all of it.
It can be a challenge, and you're right, it is a joy too, because it's helping them to see how they can have a fulfilled life, even in this sheltering place or quarantine or whatever you want to call it. And so but it's also, for me, the other thing is I get to know them, and I get to have them share their life with me, because that's the other thing, is we continue to engage them in what they remember, or what they are hoping for. And so it's making their life hopefully more meaningful. So yes. So, and then I have 2 others that are in their homes. And so I go with them in their homes. And each one of them is very different. So you work with them as they are. And it's a learning experience too, because it not only helps me being with them, but it also helps me to understand, when I interact with other people, I am more aware of, I meet them where they are rather than where I think they ought to be.
Oh, I think that's a great way to put it. That's fantastic. Well, speaking of meeting people where they are, if you weren't already busy enough with Seniors Helping Seniors and lots of other things that you're doing, you're also a key figure in our Keeping On program, which is part of the Safe Homes program. And I'm sure everybody watching already knows that Safe Homes is a program that was started by the Notre Dame Sisters many years ago to give a rent deposit or a rent check after they graduate from a program from a shelter, so that they can really get their independent living situation started off right. But what's really neat, that other than the check, what comes with it is the fact that we have a sister who does a Keeping On portion to just see how they're, well, maybe you can tell me a little bit more about the Keeping On portion.
Well, the Keeping On portion is like the year after they are into their new apartment or their new home, or wherever it is that we have helped them to get into with either a rent or deposit or utilities. We follow them for a year. if they choose. Usually I made an initial meeting with them. And when COVID came, it became an initial call. And what they commit to is they commit to paying their rent on time, calling me every month. And what we offer them, and along with paying their rent on time, they need to sign a release of information so that their landlord or landlady would know that, yes, I do have permission to check and see if they have paid their rent on time. And that's all that I deal with. So they have to sign a piece of paper that says, yes, they give me permission to do this. So when I first would meet with them, we would do that at our first meeting. And the other things would be that I would give them resources where they could go for pantries, for clothes without paying for them. And if they didn't have any medical insurance, where they might get medical help for a little bit less than regular, and other helps that they could get, like financial help. Or
has that landscape changed dramatically since COVID, or has at least the Omaha Metro kind of maintained a lot of the pantries, programs, other, pieces like that for those in need?
Omaha seems to have maintained a lot of their pantries. And I do believe what I find out, or what I hear about, is that more pantries have been opened, or they've been opened more. Usually they would have been open only a few days or maybe once a week, but now they're open more. And then also the schools have been very good about making sure that the children would have food. And from my understanding, even some of the schools say, well, you don't have to be in our school. You don't have to be in our school district. If you need food, you can come and get it. So I would say that Omaha has been really, really generous in opening their doors to people who are in need of food, for sure. And so that's a really good thing.
Well, you're one of the lucky sisters or staff members who gets to interact with the people that we serve through Safe Homes. We are so excited about Safe Homes, and we love raising funds for Safe Homes, and we know what good work it is. But you get to be the one that actually gets to meet the families. Can you tell me how you've been able to maintain or have relationships during COVID-19?
It's mostly through the phone, and I do meet with them. So like I said, every 3 months we would give them a voucher for groceries if they've paid their rent on time and called me every month. And every month, we'll talk about, like, some of them will say, well, I wasn't able to pay my rent this month and I got laid off. And I said, well, that's okay for this month, because, and this one lady said, well, I told my landlady about it and we made arrangements. And I said, well, you were very good in working with that. It's like you didn't just let it slide. So it's a talking with them, supporting them. And also when I call the landladies, it's usually the landlady that I have talked with that has said this, but they too really appreciate the fact that we walk with the women for this, at least for this first year, because they need the support. And so we're really, really grateful also to the support that the landladies and landlords give to the women.
And I think that there's a lot of programs that are now just catching up to the research that shows that aftercare long term is essential. So it's not like, you've left the shelter, good luck, here's some goodies to go. This is long term checking in, communicating, and making sure that they know that the support is there, for a year or more.
And it's helping them to build a support community for themselves. Once they leave the shelter or leave the program, they need to have that support which the program or the shelter gave them. And so that's another thing that I do, is encourage them to either connect with some of the agencies that might be able to help them, or to connect with churches in their area, whatever denomination they are of, or where they want to, where they live. And also get involved with other people of their area, like the schools and things like that, just so that they do have a system of support. And that's really, really what I would say is one of the main things to help them become successful.
I completely agree. And I'm so proud of what you do for this program, and I'm so happy that I get to write about it.
And we are so grateful, you know, we Notre Dame Sisters are so very grateful for all of you who do support us in the Safe Homes Project. And because of that, then Keeping On continues to be a program that will help them more through their life.
And speaking of our great partners who support this program, who we're incredibly grateful for, I know that we were writing letters earlier this year saying, you know, the statistics are saying that we're going to see an uptick in people going to shelters, and therefore we knew that we were going to see an uptick in applications for safe homes, just due to the nature of the coronavirus and the domestic abuse that's going on in the United States. Have you seen the increase that we were anticipating?
Well, what happened right as we had the sheltering in place, what I saw happening is that we didn't have as many people coming through. And then I think it was because at first they didn't know would they be able to get a new place, how would all of that work. And then probably about the latter part of April, then it started to come back to the way it is, up to where it is now. And yes, the women do appreciate whatever support that we can give them. Not only the financial, they're very appreciative of that, because without that, most of them couldn't make it into their homes, but also just the support that they know somebody is out there, because I always let them know we are praying for them as well, through the prayer and through the communication that we have. And I did have one client who continued to call even though the year was up, just for the support part. So that's kind of the other part that I see, is that they really do appreciate the fact of somebody walking with them.
Yeah, I think that the accompanying aspect is so huge, and I just love the fact that it's like women supporting women. It's seniors helping seniors. It's women helping women. It's the Notre Dame Sisters working with these local mothers who are our neighbors, and it's just a remarkable community that we've created for ourselves. I wanted to ask you one more question about safe homes, which is what you were saying, that they're very grateful for that financial assistance, and sometimes when we're explaining this program to our partners, it can be hard. Some people get confused and think, oh, we're just handing a $500 check to somebody who's just leaving a homeless shelter. And that's not what we're doing. We're working on getting a deposit or utilities that we then give to the landlord, and we have this communication. But what you said was so interesting, that some people wouldn't be able to make it without this. Have you seen that to be true, that without this deposit, they wouldn't be able to start an independent living situation?
Yes, I have seen that a couple of times, very drastically, or very blatantly, that if they hadn't had that, they wouldn't be able to get there. Because we are kind of like a last resort. Safe Homes is when they apply for the donation or for the help with the rent or the utilities, they have had to try other places. And so we are kind of a last resort. And so it's, it's not a first offering, a first asking that we're the first place they go. We make that, because we don't have a whole lot that we can give out, but we do want to help them as much as we can. And so, yes, I have seen some people have not been able to make it without ours. And so we were really grateful to have that.
We're all very grateful for the work that you're doing. And I was wondering, speaking of gratefulness, about the nature of your prayer. You're talking about being able to have these quiet moments of contemplation out in the small bit of nature that you can find in the city. Has your prayer life changed at all, or the nature of your prayer changed at all since the world has turned upside down?
Well, I guess I've become more aware of all of the things that are going on in the world, because I've had a little bit more time to take time to reflect upon it. And so one of the things that I usually do at night is out of my window, I can see quite a bit of Omaha when I look kind of to the northwest. And I just spend a little bit of time praying for whatever the needs are of Omaha, but then I extend it out to the world. one of the things I really do enjoy a lot is looking at the sky. And so I follow the phases of the moon and I enjoy seeing the full moon and just this. I can't see very many of the stars, but some nights it's really, really brilliant. But that helps me going to my window and like looking out over the city and being very conscious of what has been going on, especially within the last couple of couple of weeks, all that has been going on there. And then, just the whole situation on our country. It's like, I don't just think about Omaha, but of the greater universe, all the way to across the ocean and into the other, what I would call into the other solar systems that are there. So, yeah, it's like, I think because we are all connected, I feel so much a connection with not only all peoples, but also with the earth, and knowing what has happened when we first really were serious about sheltering, where we saw animals coming out and smog disappearing and all of that. It's like we do need to pay attention to our whole earth, our whole world system. And to me, that's the thing that has been strongest, I guess I would say, in my prayer is, how can I affect our world system, our earth system? And we do have recycling here and things like that. And just to be conscious of that. And that's kind of where my prayer has maybe enlarged in that area.
Do you think you would be so kind as to share a prayer with us now?
Sure. So loving God, we thank you for the beauty of the day. Each day is a new day to be with you. And we thank you for your gifts and your graces. And I would just ask that you open our hearts to seeing how you come to bless us each day through the people that we meet, through the events that are in our lives, and that we can be your presence to them in however they are needing to be, just to be with. And we ask that you give us this grace and that you continue to bless us in this way. And we ask this through Christ, your Son. Amen.
Amen. Well, thank you very much for being with us today, Sister Marie Alice. That was so fascinating. I'm sure everybody's going to be praying for you in your work with safe homes and with your work with seniors, helping seniors. I love to see that we still have all of these warriors on the ground doing great things, individual by individual.
Well, thank you very much for this opportunity. And it's been great visiting with all of you who are online as well as with Molly. So
have a great day, sister.
Have a blessed day, everybody. Bye.